how could a leader, how could a business owner create an environment where it's okay to have different opinion and still be working together?
Yeah, so I do want to talk about that, but first I want to really quickly explain to people why it causes a mental health problem if you don't speak up, and
Hmm.
why, as a boss, it costs you intellectual capital within your team if you force people, to like paralyze their brain, right? Because they're afraid to say something that is going to make waves. So when we deliberately stop ourselves from saying something, it's called suppression. And if we do that often enough, it becomes somewhat automatic and it sort of graduates to what's called repression, which is where you kind of just stop even really forcing yourself to stay silent. You just kind of like automatically know, not that I can't talk about that here. And if you do that often enough, it graduates to denial, which is where you are not even fully in touch with that part of your brain and how you really feel, but it's still operating in the background. And so when we have things operating in the background of our brain that we're not fully conscious of, that we cannot sort of take out and examine rationally, that's when we start acting out with kind of passive aggressive behaviors.
Hmm.
So I share a story in the book, for example, about a man that was really upset because there were a lot of initiatives around promoting women in his workplace. And he was told explicitly by a friend in HR that he just wasn't going to get promoted because they needed to promote more women. She just said, hey, you know what? We have enough of the straight white men here. We really need to like get some diversity. So I'm sorry, it's not your time. And he was afraid to deal with that directly because it would create a big conflict and he just wasn't sure how to handle that. So he did that repression, suppression, denial, and basically just started acting like he thought it was fine. And then he started having some difficulty trusting women. He started having a hard time feeling comfortable and fully himself around women, including at the workplace and in his personal life. And he hadn't been able to really put together why until we unpacked, the whole sequence of events. So it can definitely be harmful to bosses if they create dynamics in the workplace where there's no viewpoint diversity allowed on, values-based topics.